Gather around the table once again for another session of Dungeons and Drakfus, and today we kick off Wrath of the Lich King raid content. Now, there are a few other dungeons that we haven't touched yet in Wrath of the Lich King content, but from here on what's going to happen is we're going to try and tackle things patched. So people might remember when I did the wrap-up for Burning Crusade, there was an entire week devoted to Sunwell Plateau and Magister's Terrace. Why? Because I tried to get everything to go in order. Unfortunately, some things were redone and I couldn't do them. And that's kind of the case here too. But we've taken care of all of the at-launch Wrath of the Lich King dungeons. And now we're going to start up the raid content. Now, when raid content started for Wrath of the Lich King, there were 4 raid instances that you could do. One of which we're actually going to hit at the tail end. It's literally going to be one of the last raid instances that we do. And the reason being is that it was a PvP-based raid set up in Lake Wintergrass called the Vault of Archivon. The reason we're not gonna do it right away is because it was updated with every major patch up until Icecrown. And so it only feels appropriate because you can't take it on winged. It's all there. And it doesn't really make sense for us to go, oh, well, in 3.1, this wasn't available, and we'll tackle it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tackle the Vault of Archivon right after we do Icecrown Citadel, because that was the last time that the Vault of Archivon got any major update. Excuse me, I'm still kind of fighting off the Mantid voice here. But we're going to wait on the Vault of Archivon for that, and we're going to tackle the other 3 raids that did launch, starting up with the Obsidian Sanctum today. Now, people might wonder why we're actually in Wyrmrest Temple. That's because the Obsidian Sanctum is actually at the very bottom of the temple itself. So here is the inside of the lower floor of Wyrmrest Temple. And as you can see, there are actually a bunch of doors, which kind of left things open for potential to open these other doors. You can see one for the green dragonflight. You can see one for the black. You can see one for the bronze. Only 2 of these are available, and one was launched near the end of the Wrath of the Lich King. And like I said, we're going in order. But here, actually, no, this would be... Let's see. Bronze, red, green, black, Twilight. Maybe Twilight? I don't know. I have no idea what this actual door is for, but we'll find out as we go along. First of all, before we step into the Obsidian Sanctum, let's go ahead and go over the lore of it, which unfortunately, I'm just going to show you guys, we have the same problem that we did with the Adventurer's Guide, is that it doesn't have a whole lot to work with. That's okay. I've got the entry for Obsidian Sanctum in Wowpedia, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you guys. And this was one of the 3... there was a progression to them. This was kind of the entry raid in Wrath of the Lich King, and then the next one, and then the final one. Let's go ahead and read into this. More than 10,000 years ago, the Black Dragon aspect Neltharion began a quest to reign supreme over his fellow dragons and thereby dominate Azeroth. Before Deathwing, as Neltharion came to be known, could achieve his goal, the other aspects drove him into hiding, but the rest of the Black Dragonflight continued his foul work, as we've seen with Neltharion in Blackwing Lair. Let's see. Hated and hunted for its evil deeds, the Blackflight dwindled. And at first, Deathwing schemed to bolster its ranks. In time, however, his agents began experimenting with other dragonflights, like Neltharion, to create a new and mightier breed of dragon. The resulting experiments gave rise to powerful and terrifying new breeds. Powerful and terrifying new breed, the Twilight Dragons, which we dealt with a lot in Cataclysm. These malefic dragons were believed to be destroyed after an attack on Grimbatal, but a new clutch of Twilight eggs was recently discovered within the Obsidian Sanctum, the Black Dragonflight's domain, and the Chamber of the Aspects. Now Azeroth's heroes must destroy the brood once and for all and prevent the dark future that has been set into motion. So in the wake of the Nexus War, Alexstrasza tasked her children with rooting out any danger and treachery within the Wyrmrest Accord. They quickly located a clutch of Twilight dragon eggs within the Obsidian Sanctum. So this is where the black dragon eggs are supposed to be. But instead we have Twilight ones. With their resources already strained in dealing with the Scourge and the Blue Dragonflight, Alexstrasza's consort, Corialstraz, or Crassus as we know him, has sent word of the eggs to Dalaran's Council of Six in hopes that able-bodied adventurers can enter the Sanctum and destroy the twisted progeny of Deathwing. So That was pretty wordy, but yeah, that's basically why we're going in. Is there's a clutch of Twilight Dragon eggs, and we need to stop them from being born. Twilight Dragons are kind of like vampiric dragons. I wish there was a better definition of like the Twilight Dragons in lore, but you have to go into the books to be able to get into that, which is Twilight of the Aspects, I believe. So if you want to go ahead and do that. But this is actually a very unique raid. It's only, as you guys can see, well, unfortunately you can't see on my map, but it's one room. This is the whole room of Obsidian Sanctum. And in the middle, we have Sartharian, who is the guardian of the Sanctum, and therefore kind of the caretaker of these Twilight eggs. As you can see off in the distance, these are the Twilight eggs. And you can see, like, there's a bunch of black dragon flight, but then you see, oh, look, there are 3 Twilight Dragons in there. And that's where this gets a little bit more complicated and cool, is the Twilight Dragons are kind of optional bosses. You can take them on, or you can leave them up and take them on with Sartharian, and there actually is an achievement and a mount if you do that. So I'm actually going to do what's called Sarth 3D. So let's go ahead and get things started, but because first we've got to actually clear the trash, so to speak. Thankfully, that won't take too long. But let's just go ahead and start clearing trash. First of all, happy Monday, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good week so far. For me, I'm just getting back from vacation, as you guys have seen in previous videos. And if you guys don't know the reason I went on vacation, well, there's a video for that too. And as I've kind of pointed out in other videos that have gone up over the week, with the vacation also came a little bit of changes to my channel's schedule and how things are going to go. I know I did a schedule update only a couple of weeks ago, but then we had this problem happen. So I'll give more details as we go along then, but there are going to be subtle changes to the channel, but not big ones. I think you guys are still going to be able to get the content you want. It's just, in some cases, you might have to wait a tad longer for that stuff. But I want to reemphasize, because I already know this is going to get asked, are things getting canceled? No. They're going to get finished, and then maybe what will happen is the schedule will transition, and it won't necessarily be as big as my active schedule is right now. So here's the first guy, Vesperon. You can technically take him on, but we're not going to. We're actually going to keep him up, and we're going to do the event called Sarth 3D, which basically is fighting Sartharian plus all these 3 Drakes. Because these Drakes are a pain in the butt, and they actually do buff Sartharian, so that's why this is kind of an added challenge if people wanted to take it on. Mainly because this was also the introduction of the achievement system, so Blizzard went nuts and said, okay, well, we're gonna play with this a little bit. There we go. And here's the second one. This one was a pain in the butt, Tenebraron. Oh, and come on. I want to mount up. There we go. So right now, we're just taking care of all of the Black Dragonflight patrols that are happening right now. Mainly because as soon as you pull Sartharian, you pull the whole room. And the only thing that we really want to pull is the Twilight Drakes. We don't want to pull the rest of the guys in here. So, and here's the last one, which is Shadron. And for people who are wondering, are you even going to be able to pull this off? Yes, I will. Thankfully, I'm way over geared for this. I'm in Miss Pandaria gear, so this is not going to be too hard. But now that's all of them. So what's going to happen is we're going to attack Sartharian, and then the Drakes are going to come down and try to assist him. But our main focus is going to be to kill Sartharian. I don't think there's a whole lot of lore attached to Sartharian, but let's double check, because I want to be able to give you guys the lore for it. Unfortunately, Nobble, I don't think, has a video on this particular one. Dungeon Denizens, we need Sartharian. Because I believe he's just the guardian of the Twilight Clutch. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There really isn't a whole lot added to him. He's just a dragon boss located in the Obsidian Sanctum. He is charged to watch over the Twilight eggs in the Sanctum, and you have to stop him as well as the Twilight Clutch. So let's go ahead and take on Sartharian. Face of Fury! Now, I remember back in the day when this fight was actually hard. It hasn't been hard in many, many years. There you go. So you get Besting the Black Dragon Flight. You get Gonna Go When the Volcano Blows, which is an additional one. Then all of these Twilight Assist, Twilight Duo, and then the Twilight Zone, which is the achievement one. Oh, I'm still getting attacked. That's right. He has fire elementals out. And if you do Twilight Zone, then by default he will. Are we done? There we go. He will by default drop the Reigns of the Twilight Drake, which I already have. But I wanted to be able to showcase this to you guys. And this was actually a really helpful boss back in the day, first of all, because it gave a 22 slot bag. And if you weren't, like, your tailoring wasn't up to snuff, then this was really awesome. As you can see, he also dropped a tier token for tier 7. And then you also got the large satchel of spoils, which is just gems and things like that you could get. Are there any appearances that I haven't collected yet? The Staff of Restraint I haven't. Okay, and that's going to go ahead and do it. So, I mean, I don't mean to make this super small, but that's pretty much the Obsidian Sanctum. So that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. When we get back on Tuesday, though, we will take on the first full-fledged raid content, aside from the Obsidian Sanctum, in Wrath of the Lich King, which is the Citadel of Noxramas. We'll see you guys then.